Hello, 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 everyone. How's everybody doing today? Another great day here in the world. I have a special one for you guys. I have what I like to call this episode is going to be no excuses, man. This is going to be no excuses. I don't want to hear any excuses from anyone because today I have a special guest. Today we're going to be talking about faith, legacy, and straight up hustle, baby. I got one of my favorite guys in this whole wide world. I'm so thankful that he was actually able to do this podcast with me today. And you guys are in store for a big one. I hope you're ready. Today, I got a gentleman that is affectionately known as Cousin Keith. If you guys saw the flyer, you saw Cousin Keith. I call him Special K. Just to give you a little background about how we got acquainted is through some of our old businesses, I should say. We had an encounter, and me and my clowny self decided to look at this man and talk to him in a rather peculiar way, and he didn't like it too much. There was no foul language. There was just me being a wise guy. Let's use it that way. I'm not trying to use profanity in any way, but being a wise guy. And, we crossed paths, and with time, we were able to really form a very good relationship. At the end of the day, during those horrible times of COVID, I like to tell people this part of the story because I think it's important to remember where we were all during COVID, locked down, right? Not able to see people, touch people, have conversations unless it was over the phone. Everybody worrying about their family. And this man drove to where I was at, sat down on a lawn chair with me, of course, 6 feet across. And we just started talking about life and business and just dreaming of what could be, what was. And it was amazing to have him in my life. And it's still amazing to have him in my life today. So today, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Special K, also known as Cousin Keith. Cousin Keith, how you doing today, man? I'm so happy to see you here, man.
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for the intro. Sometimes I forget about that. I do. I really forget about that. But yeah, that was pretty accurate. But we have formed a great friendship. I consider you like a brother. So that's how far the relationship has evolved for me. So.
Oh wow, I got some things today. Before I get into any type of gunslinging and question going, or any of the crowd or the people watching decide to get involved with the questions, I want to ask you to please introduce yourself to the beautiful people and let them know who you are. You could always say what you do, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, currently, I would be what you would call a financial strategist. I help people. What I like to say to people is I like to teach you how to get the bag, grow the bag, and keep the bag and protect it. That's what I like to do. So that
I
that
like
that
it.
that encompasses everything that we are on our financial journey to do. Because if your credit ain't right, you can't do nothing. You get your credit right, we can help you. We can help you get funding. We can help you also grow that. We can also help you with strategies for tax strategies to be able to retire, tax free. So that's mostly what I do with a lot of our clients, and also building my agency at the same time. And we have multiple
Oh,
businesses, my wife and myself. So those are the types of things that we are definitely involved in, as you know. Other than that, I'm a man of God. God is first in my life. Very spiritual brother. We have 8 children between us. We have and 15 beautiful grandchildren. So we have a large family. So family means everything to us. So the foundation of everything that we do is based on the information that we actually share with our family, and everything starts at home. Because if you can't do it at home, you can't do it anywhere else.
mm, okay, that was strong right there already. Something else I just want to touch about a little bit about the colorful past. You also were in the military, correct?
Correct.
What branch? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, just the army. It was a what they call 94 Bravo. I cooked, so I came through that period of my life. That was in my early 20s. After I got out of the military, I came home and started on my entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, okay, and we're gonna start off with your see the preface of this platform is to talk to people about entrepreneurship. What I would hope to do is anyone that's watching, that's even thinking about it, toying with it, playing with it, could see that anybody from any walk of life, no matter what your excuse is, you can be an entrepreneur and earn for yourself, um, and to believe in themselves and their talents. It's an inner look on entrepreneurship, and one of the things I looked when I looked at your story is that it started early for you. In your 20s, you started a cleaning service, right?
Correct. Yeah, I
Tell us
started a
a
cleaning
little bit
service.
about
So the cleaning service evolved when we had a family. It was my at the time my first marriage. So we had our 3 children. So it was out of a necessity to survive. I needed to earn more money. I had to figure out other ways to come up with more money. So there was a lady that we knew who had a cleaning service, and I always tell people like, you know, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. So I asked her about the business. So she says, well, I really can't afford to pay you, but I'll teach you how to do it. I could figure out how to clean, but I didn't know how to bid. So I would go in, I would help her 3, 4 days a week cleaning the building. She taught me how to bid on the contracts. I worked for her about 3 or 4 months for free, completely for free, learning all aspects of the business because there's a lot more than just cleaning a building. Getting a broom, cleaning a building, understanding your supplies, understanding what market or what niche is best for you. So once I learned how to do that, I call it my internship. I no longer needed that, so therefore I ventured out on my own. My first contract was with Friendlies from in the Northeast Quarter, is an ice cream store. So they have like a chain. So I started out with Friendlies, got one Friendlies, ended up having like 4 Friendlies in the area, got the whole district. Then grew from there into what we call like final stage cleanings from construction sites. So that also grew in the Delaware Valley, and then we grew into cleaning carpets. So from that point, that's when I ventured off into like the other businesses. We started. Somebody asked me about financing a musical event, and I agreed to it, and that's how I got into the music industry. I started putting up money, funding projects for promoting parties. So that was my next business venture from there.
Oh, whoa, whoa. We're not going to get into that one yet. Hold on. Time out. Bring it back. Turn rewind. We're not done yet.
I
Listen,
don't know how fast or how slow you want me to go, bro, but I go
listen, you
wherever you
only
want
know
me to
one
go.
speed. You only know one
Okay.
speed. That's good. That's good. Hi, Takiro. What's going on, Lisette? Thanks for saying hello. They just want to make sure they want to say hello to you, sir.
Hello,
Well,
everybody. How you guys doing?
in your first business, right? Building it from the ground up.
Right.
What lessons do you learn about hustle, grit, and purpose? Because obviously you had a purpose, and it's the cleaning service. I mean, it just came, like you said, it came out of necessity to make extra money, right? So
Right.
tell me one thing you learned about grit and purpose within doing that? Because to me, that's a hustle.
Well, I mean, when you say things like grit, I came up in an environment where excuses, that's not something that we did. So like
Mm,
I'm probably like I'm the last year of the baby boomer. So I didn't have a luxury of being complacent. I had to get out there and get it. So that's where the grit comes from. The grit came from the environment that I grew up in and the people that were around me. So you just have to go out there and get after it. So learning how to do something, as somebody would call me at the time, they said, "That's stupid. You're gonna work for somebody for free." But I got the knowledge. And once I got the knowledge, now I can build it. I didn't no longer need that person to do it. And she actually ended up working for me, the person that actually taught me the business. So the grind came in there where, you start to talk to people, and I've always been a pretty friendly person. So I would start talking to people, and one conversation led to another, and a conversation led to another. And I asked a question. They said, "Well, can you do this?" And I would say, "Yeah, I could do that. I'll figure it out." Sometimes I didn't know how to do the thing that they were contracting me to do, but we were going to figure it out. So that's where like the determination came from. We're gonna figure it out as we go. So we didn't have access to the internet, all the things that were readily available today. I couldn't go look it up. I had to go ask questions and learn. So it was just that whole thing where I did not accept the fact that I couldn't do something. I would not accept that.
I
That that's
love
what,
that. I love that.
yeah.
I love that. And one of the things you didn't cover there that I'm gonna ask you now is what role? Because that was part of my thing. The whole thing on faith, baby. I'm all about faith over fear. What role did faith play in your entrepreneur journey, especially when it came to building a legacy? I mean, you're talking about 8 children. That's what you said at the
Yeah.
beginning, right? 8 children,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and how many grands?
15. Yeah, 15.
15 grand. We're not even gonna ask you because right now you said you already gave enough clues. You're the last of the baby boomers. I feel like you're a dinosaur right now. But go ahead.
I feel like that some days, brother. I feel like that some days. A
Can you
dinosaur.
tell me? Can you tell me how faith played a role in this entrepreneurial journey? Because that's all you've been doing since the military.
Well, I think that for me, the experience was like I always hear a lot of people say when they started a business, they got a lot of pushback, a lot of negativity. Myself, I didn't really get that. Like nobody was surprised when I started a business. The question was always how big could it get? So when it comes to faith at the time, I mean, we grew up in a spiritual family. So my family is full of preachers, and we grew up in the church and things like that. But I can't honestly tell you in the beginning that it was based on faith. It was just based on I gotta go get it. Just to be totally honest with you, the faith came later when I started to make decisions to move away from the other businesses. And I guess you'll get to that part.
Mm, okay. Okay. So
So in the beginning, it was just like I'm a young guy. I'm in my 20s. Like I don't hadn't really grown enough spiritually to be completely reliant, like to where I'm at today at that time. But the things that you got to do. So I'm just out there hustling. And what you're not going to do, you're not going to work me
ooh,
because I work from sun up to sun up. Like that was just my mentality. Like I would do whatever I needed to do to get whatever I needed to get. So sometimes I would take a job and we would do work and other people would get paid and I wouldn't pay myself, but I needed that contract to keep growing my business. So this was pre when you hear like about these streams of income or the things that we do. We just got out there and got it because we just didn't have the idea that we could fail. Like I got to go get it. Like failure, that's really was not an option at the time because that like our kids went to at the time where someone was going to Catholic school, things like that. All I know is at the end of the month, I gotta have this money, and the rest of the stuff don't matter.
mm.
Nothing matters but getting to that goal.
Ooh. Hey, cousin Keith, Mr. Mark Tarolia. If you see on the screen, he's saying, "Cousin Keith, what's going on, Mr. Mark Tarolia?"
I see.
And Takira, they're watching. Numbers are going up right before I get to a hot spot, man. Listen, I gotta talk about this part, and it's all leading to this because you're still. How many years you been in entrepreneurship now?
Oh Lord, 20. over 30
Wow.
years. My son, my oldest son is 38, so almost 40 years. Yeah, in my early 20s. So about 30, let's say about 35 years. Yep.
Well, here's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I'm completely in awe of you, man. And I found out later than most people for somebody that was so close to the fire. Man, right now, currently, with everything you're going through, and I'm going to go into it, how are you able to maintain your focus, your strength, your ability to just want to keep going? This is your second battle with multiple melanoma, right? Uh,
Myeloma,
what has the
yes, yes.
experience taught you about your resilience, and not just as a man but as a husband, a father, and lastly an entrepreneur? Like, this is your second fight.
Oh,
So if
wow.
you could talk about, give us a brief synopsis of the first time, you fought it, you beat it, and here you are still a gladiator on earth as a man, a husband, and lastly as an entrepreneur. And you're here ready for the go round, and you're putting on the gloves on, strapping on your boots, and you're not folding. I mean, you're working 100%. I mean, I'm in awe of you, man. A lot of people fold. You prove there's no folding in you.
Right. Well, Leo, I'll say this to you. So we'll start with now. We can start with the faith, okay? Because as I've grown, when I had the opportunity to be saved, because I'm saved, so I'm just walking by faith, brother. And God, when that became the center of my life, everything came from that. So everything for me surrounds around and centered in that, in my faith. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but at the young when I started in this, I used to study what's called apologetics. And apologetics is what they call people who can defend the Bible, right? So we would have these conversations going back and forth. So it caused me to immerse myself um, in my walk, in my faith, in my studies. So I was grounded when all these things came up. So my faith, it never shook me at all, at all. So when you say to tell you a little bit about it, the first bout was we were living in Florida at the time, and we were we were moving a TV from one place to the other, and I heard something pop in my back, and I kind of fell. It was our birthday weekend, and I fell. My wife said something's wrong. Long story short, she makes me go to get checked out. When I go get checked out, they gave me a shot, and it didn't work, like for pain, like a what you call it, cortisone
Cortisone,
shot.
yeah.
So the doctor immediately sent me to go get an X-ray. I go get an X-ray. They give me a CAT scan, and the guy walks out, past me in the room, walks over to my wife and go, "Was he in a car accident?" She said, "No." She said, "Did he fall off a ladder?" He said, "No." She said, "This man's back is broke in 4 places. I don't even know how he walked in here." But I was on a walker. I couldn't hardly walk. So he said, "Go right back to the doctors." When we pulled up in front of the doctor said it was I said, "Now Jackson Hospital." She said, "You see the hospital over there?" I said, "Yeah, I want you to go there right now." This is during COVID, right? So this is during COVID. So we go to the hospital. Now my wife can't go in with me. So I have to go into this environment all by myself. I'm in this environment, and they running all these tests, and the doctor comes out a couple hours later and said, "Mr. Jones," she said, "we think we know what it is." And I said, "Well, what is that?" She said, "Sir, you have what's called multiple myeloma." I said, "Okay, what's that?" I had no idea what it was. So she told me what it was. I said, "Oh my God." So we go through that. My wife can't come see me in the hospital. They're running all these tests. They decided, like, they had me like really medicated. They decided that they were going to let me pass away at the hospital. My wife, and I've never shared that with you.
Hmm.
So my wife fought and fought and fought. They said she couldn't get up there. She had to be vetted. Turns out because of her clinical rotation, she was already in the system. So they let her come. She raised all kind of you know what when she got there. the whole time I'm still like, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do, but I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. Like I'm here, I'm trusting you. I don't know what to do, but that's where my focus was to answer that question. And they said, long story short, they said my wife started making phone calls back to Jersey because that's where we're from, and we have a lot of people in the medical field here. And they said, get him home. If you can get him home, we ain't getting. So we had to fight to get me released. They released me, get on the plane. I wasn't supposed to be able to fly because my back is broken. I'm not supposed to be flying. So I took enough medication to get on the plane, to get off. My daughter and my friends got me at the airport, put me in a car from Atlantic City, drove me to Cooper Hospital, picked me up, took me in the hospital because they still couldn't go in there, still during COVID. I was in the hospital 30 days, 35 days in Florida because I was on hospice there. I get here, and when I get here, they said they ran the same test all over again. Jackson wouldn't release the things. All this time, my faith is still, Lord, I don't know what's going on. If it's meant for me to die, I'm gonna die. If it ain't meant for me to die, I ain't gonna die. That's just me. Too arrogant, too trusting in him. I ain't worrying about it. So they said, Mr. Jones, this is the worst case of multiple myeloma we have ever seen. You have four broken bones in your back. You have 5 tumors on your back. You have a tumor on your hip. And I ended up having a rod in my leg and my hip replaced when I got back here to Jersey. Because at that point, I couldn't walk at all. So when you say about your faith, that's all I had, bro. That's all I had. I really trusted in God. Like, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. But you ain't bring me this far, bro. Leave me, like, not here. It ain't going to happen like that. I don't. But you can't give a testimony until you have truly been tested. So once you test it, now you can actually say, here's what my faith is. You can quote scripture to me all day. But when your back is against the wall and God is challenging you and these things up in front of you, what do you have to do? Now, I will tell you, when you talk about the family portion of it, before I get to what the doctor said, my family wasn't ready. So when we talk about a lot of things, I have two of our children are nurses. My wife is a nurse, and I watched them not be able to process what was going on. So it wasn't the financial part of it; it was just the emotional side of it. So I had to fight for something that was bigger than me, and that was my family. That's bigger than me. So when a doctor said, what do you want to do? Because at that point, I could have just said, forget it. And they told me, you're about 30 days away from dying. What you want to do? You want to fight? If you want to fight, we're going to fight with you. So we fought. I said, well, buckle up, baby. It's going to be a rough ride. We're going to fight. So I had to learn, we went through the process, had to learn how to walk again, had to do all those things, as you know, had to learn how to walk, had to learn how to do a lot of things to get back on my feet. So the journey was long. But in the midst of that, brother, I would tell you that because of where I was and am spiritually, I just prayed my way through it. I just prayed my way through it. It wasn't nobody but me and God, man. And my family, I got great support with them. My children have great, support with them. I remember my grandson called me and said, Babu, my grandkids call me Babu. Babu, who broke your back? You want me to get them for you? He must have been about 3. So when you have a family, you have that type of support system and structure, you can pretty much get through anything it is that you want to. But I'll oftentimes say, people like Coach said, I lead from the front. I lead from the front of my family. The running joke of my family is my kids say, how you going to let the guy with the broke back beat you? That guy going to beat you? Like, no excuses. And it's funny to hear you say that, but my children often say, like this guy has no excuses. Like, I went to work with a broken back. I remember being on calls in the hospital and getting kicked off the calls because, hey, man, you're in the hospital. You're supposed to be recovering. I got work to do. I got to call my clients. I got to call other people. I got to do this. So I just never let it get in my way. I never thought about it that it was an issue. The issue was that I have other responsibilities, and those responsibilities came before me, and I committed myself to those things and to the people that I was around. So that was the first time in, shortly thereafter, about a year after, my numbers went down, but here we go again in December. That's when we found out it came back. So that answer your question for you?
Ooh, yeah, man. Woo, man.
Let's go.
That
Let's go, man.
Is that dog in you? You got that dog in you, man. Let me tell you, man, that's inspirational. And that what you said, you there's a lot of faith speakers, or I should say, people that could speak and memorize scripture.
Right.
When you could tell the difference when people live in faith and they have a connection with the Almighty. So I just want to thank you for being able to express that. It's not easy. A lot of people end up getting sick and they don't tell anybody until the end. When they feels the end. And the way you fighting this thing, man, I've seen you day in day out. It doesn't even bother you. Nobody would know if they didn't ask you.
Well, no, like even now when it came back, my wife and I have so much a ton of respect for her and the support and the love that she gives me. She said, we're gonna join the gym. And I said, okay. I'm thinking she's tripping. But all right, we're gonna join the gym. All right. So I go to the gym and it was one of the best things that could have ever happened in the sense that, you have to like I heard someone say, next to God, the most important decision that a man makes is the wife that he chooses. Because she will
Oh,
elevate you or take you down.
bring that. Bring that back, Kermit one. I need other people to hear that. We need to hear. What did you just say? Say that again. Next to
Gentlemen
God.
told us, next to God, the most important decision that a man can make, because God got to be first in your life. Something has to guide you in your life on this journey. The most important decision that a man makes is the wife that he chooses,
Mm.
because she is the foundation of the entire family. She makes the motor go. When I heard these people talk about their feelings and their emotions and all that, I'm old school. My wife makes all this go. So she said, we're going to the gym. Okay. I go to the gym, much like the business that we're involved in is a buy-in to what we do, right? And the coaches told me what they do. These guys are personal trainers. I told him everything that was going on. He said, we're going to slow walk and then we're going to explode. I said, okay. So I get in there and I'm the guy who couldn't bend over, couldn't pick up 10 pounds, couldn't do nothing. Now, all of a sudden, I'm, what do you call it? Member of the month, winning weight loss challenges, like all kinds of things, because there's a system that's put in place. And these guys are my coaches and I follow my coach's lead. And because of that, so when somebody sees me, I'm often hearing things like, you don't look like you have cancer. And I said, well, what's it look
What does
like to you?
cancer looks like?
Right. What does it look like to you? So no, yeah, I do have cancer. I can promise you that. It's not a badge that you pick up that you play with. But with that, brother, it's like I'm following their system. So I'm a lot stronger, I'm a lot better, even mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, because now I'm eating right. I'm doing a lot of things that a lot of people won't do. So whatever they ask me to do, I do. So my doctors and my trainers are all on the same page with my health regimen. So that's how I'm able to do that.
Okay, that oof, man, you're just dropping a lot, man. I hope people are picking up what you're putting down because I would be taking notes right now. But I'm glad I got the recording. Let me ask you something. Um,
Okay.
and you sort of answered this, but most people when they get ill, like I said before, they slow down. You haven't skipped a beat. What keeps you moving forward with business, mentorship, and even your leadership, your community leadership that we have even talked about? What keeps you going with that? Like
Right.
what almost that this is I could phrase this whole question in one small phrase. What is your why?
Wow. That's a good question, Leo. And I'm gonna try to answer it like this. When a person says, "What is your why?" My why isn't based on money. It isn't based on those things because I will tell you very candidly, I'm 61 years old, and all of our children are adults. We had these conversations, and my kids said only thing that they needed was time. All of our children are doing very well in life, which is a blessing in itself. So my why is kind of split. When I say, and if I can take a minute to explain, let's start with the myeloma side of it. Okay, when one of my recent visits to the doctors, she said to me, and I would like for anybody who hears this or comes in contact with somebody to share this. She said to me, um, one day, she said, Keith, can I share something with you? And I said, yeah. She said, there's a disproportionate number of African American males who, when diagnosed with multiple myeloma, do not get treated in time. And I said, okay. I'm not understanding where she's going at with this. She said, and we need to do people to get the word out. And I said, okay, how can I help? So she says, well, any way that you can talk to people in the community, any community, on any platform, would you be willing to do that? She said, we want to do a commercial. Would you do like the commercial with the hospital? And I said, absolutely. I will do that. I will definitely do that. So what I started doing was, that's where they have shirts. You probably seen them with about beat it, treat it, defeat it, like multiple myeloma. Everywhere I go, I'm rocking the multiple myeloma shirts. I'm writing, what do you call them? I had a blog, doing like the blog, putting out the word. I put that stuff out through social media. There's some events and things like that that I've been asked to speak at, to put the word out to help other people, so that we can get that, so that we can get the word out to help people in their quest, in this journey. So when you ask about that portion of it, well, when you come to Earth, I believe that we all have an assignment. So when you say, what's your why? Well, this is one of my whys. My assignment is to help everybody. God never promised me 90 years in great health. He never promised me that. So for me, the way I look at it is, whatever days he has given me to be here on this earth, I will be a contribution to whomever I come in contact with. So if it's through the multiple myeloma, I've committed myself to helping people in that journey. So any place that I have opportunity, like right now I'm talking about it, to be able to tell people like, yo, go get treated. Go get tested for it. Only thing it is a blood test. Test me for multiple myeloma. And they can do the blood work on it. So that way we can stop it, especially in our community, because a lot of people don't go get treated. They don't get tested. They don't even get tested, let alone for the multiple myeloma, for the other things that are leading causes of death in our communities. So this whole thing is bigger than me. It ain't even about me. It's about him. And that's really what it's about. It's all about him. So for me, bro, I don't even matter. It's like it's the people in that community, my family, my children, my wife. And then when it comes to business, there were some promises that I made, to be very candid, that I said, okay, you want these things? Let me make sure that these things are in place for our family. So again, let's lead from the front. Let's set up the trust. Let me help you get your credit right. Let me help you do all the things it is that you need to do, so that our family, we can have generational wealth. We can have those things. But it's about the mindset. If I can get your mind right, the rest of the stuff will come. Because I can leave you money, but if I didn't teach you what to do with it, as you know from all of our studies and things, usually by the second generation, there's no money left. Like my grandchildren to be here with us in the summertime, we're having financial literacy and investment classes within the family to teach the little people. Like those are the types of things that we do. So my why is about giving back, man. That's all it is. We're here to give. We're here to serve. That's what we're supposed to do. You ain't serving, what you doing? I'm not chasing no bag, bro. I don't really need to work at this point. We've done well enough that I don't have to do that. But I'm so driven and compassionate about helping other people. Like, see the vision. Understand what it is that he gave. He gives us a gift. This is a gift. Even having cancer, bro, this is a gift. I'm supposed to go help other people. I ain't sitting around talking about, oh, woe was me. God, give me the strength to keep fighting through. That's my prayer. Give me the strength to keep fighting through. Give me the strength to keep inspiring other people to do the things that they do. Now, as a result of all that, then all the other stuff comes with the business and stuff like that. So the business part of it, that's easy. That's real easy, bro. You sit down, you talk to people, you help them, and then you give your testimony, and you get to sit down and help families, man. It's really about the family. I'm committed to the family. I used to coach, mentor, things like that. So all those things just coincide to help get me to this space in my life.
Mm. Wow, that's deep, man. You got a lot of layers, man. You're deep. I'm gonna ask you about I'm gonna ask you something I heard about. Oh
Okay.
wait, we got a question. We got a question here. Hold on, Keith. All right, we got a question right here from Cherry. Hi, Keith. Here's some questions. As an
Okay.
entrepreneur, how has your faith influenced the way you run your business? That's a really good one.
That's a great question. And I have a really good answer for that. So oftentimes people are very intrigued about doing our venture into the music industry. Okay. So my faith made me walk away from that environment because
Mm.
there was no amount of money that could make me compromise my belief. And there were things that came up that challenged that, and I never forget when we parted ways with my former partners in that business. They said, like, I just closed this really, really big deal. And I said, I can't have my name attached to that and then go down and mentor and guide children. I can't do that. There's no amount of money. And if I lose everything as a result of it, that's cool. And I said, as a matter of fact, I sat down, as you know, my brother's my attorney and stuff. So we sat down and said, if I have to, y'all can have all this. You can have it. Because it's not worth it. Because again, if it comes from God, then it's blessed. If it doesn't come from him, there's no blessing with that, brother. You ain't gonna have nothing but heartache and chaos. So I hope that answers the question. I walked away from a business that I actually liked because it compromised where I was spiritually. It wasn't worth it.
And that was the music industry.
That was the music industry. Yep. We did things like music wise. That was that and the combination of our mostly like the video production side of what we were doing. So it's
Mm.
really like the video production side, but no, I just walked away. Like it's just not worth it.
Mm.
I see
Wow.
another question, but I can't read it.
Yeah, there's Takira. She said, "What would your younger self say to the man you are today?"
That's a good question too. I think
Mm.
my younger self would be happy with the man that I am today. Because at the end of the day, when I think about the things that were important, because as a kid, you're looking for somebody, or a younger person, you're looking for somebody to lead you, to mentor you. And the person that I am today could mentor the person that I was back then. And that person back then could look up to the man that I am today.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I got one on entrepreneurship. Nobody kicked one out. I hope, Takira, I hope that answered your question. Here's one I got for you.
All right, go ahead.
You're talking about entrepreneurship, right?
Huh?
Can you tell me what's the most important thing that you could work on when it comes to entrepreneurship?
The most important thing?
Either skill set or the what is one of the main major like tools you need in entrepreneurship to make it as long as you had in all the industries that you worked in?
Mm, I think the most important thing is self development.
Okay.
I really think it's self development because as an entrepreneur, or some people when they say solopreneur, entrepreneur, when you grow, you have to keep learning. You're always evolving. You're always moving forward. So you never know enough. Like I know, like at the gym, we always say, always remain a white belt. Always be learning. So I learn and absorb from everybody around me, whether it's a person who's new, like say in our current business, or a person that's a veteran that's been there 30 or 40 years. And the thing I learned at a very young age was to surround myself with people who their strengths were my weaknesses. Because I didn't need to be the only guy in the room who knew everything. I needed, like I learned before it was a cool and chic thing to say, I learned that you can do better with partners than you can do a solo. because in all my businesses, I always shared all the information. Because like it's always like I have a like empty the bucket mentality. So the more I get, the more I'm just pouring into other people. Hey man, I learned this. Hey, I learned this. I learned this. And somebody's always doing the same for me
Hmm.
in our business. So I think it's really self development when it comes to being an entrepreneur because you never know everything in any business because there's levels to all these things that we do. So you just continue to grow and evolve as an entrepreneur, like, and it's exciting because you're always learning
So
new
you would
stuff.
say, and relationships, I would say, because you're really good at maintaining and creating relationships. I would say so. I would
Mhm.
say that those are two key points. I want to touch base on a story, if you can emphasize on this. I heard a story about you being at a present place. I can't remember the location, but I believe you were wearing a shirt of some sort, and somebody came up to you, and you just started connecting right away to the point that it became a major resource for you. I believe it was in a dealership. I think you were with Mark. You were talking about it in one of our calls. I recall that.
Okay, yeah,
And the
yeah,
reason
yeah,
I
yeah.
bring this up is because I think that entrepreneurs, a lot of us, especially starting in the business being um or being in the business for a while, something happens to us where we either go blind and we don't see opportunity. See, one of the things I've been told about myself is that I see opportunity in everything. I always have my eyes open to look for
Right,
an opportunity. And I want you to touch
right.
about that encounter, if you could, like, give us 3 5 minutes on how that worked out and how were you able to see that? Because I can tell you the truth, I probably would have not seen that, and I'm always looking for opportunity. And somehow, here you are, and you're gonna tell everybody about the opportunity. So I know they're like, "What is he talking about?" Good, because it's gonna come straight from Cousin Keith's mouth.
Okay. Well, what happened? I was in a matter of fact, I was after one of my treatments. So every Tuesday after a treatment, my wife and I usually go out and get something to eat. So this particular time, uh, I went to as a local sports bar. So my wife wasn't staying. She had one of our family friends had a death in their family. So I'm sitting at the bar by myself. Right after my wife leaves, a guy walks in and says, "Hey man, is anybody sitting here?" So I'm sitting at the bar, and I said, "Nah." I said, "You can sit there." And I never forget it. I always look at what people are wearing. So he had a Raiders thing on his fleece jacket. And I said, "Man, I shouldn't let you sit down with that Raiders mess on you got." He said, "Oh man, you must be Eagles fan." I said, "Absolutely not." She said, "Well, who you like?" I said, I'm Steelers Nation since the 70s. He said, "Oh, that's even worse." So we started talking. I said, "Man, have a seat." So when he sits down, we started just talking. At the time, the Eagles had just pretty much won the Super Bowl. And during the course of our conversation, um, we're talking about football, and we're talking about where we're from. And one thing led to another, and he asked me, "What did I do?" Sees my shirt like the cancer shirt, right? Because I'm always, again, and this is something a lot of people got to do because if you notice, almost every time you see me on a call or wherever it is, you see I have on a Cousin Keith shirt today. Behind me, you see like the Cousin Keith logo. Like I'm building a personal brand. I don't work for nobody. I work for me. The name of my company is KJ Financial Group. Rarely do you see that unless I'm in an event where I'm speaking or something like that. But most of the time you see Cousin Keith. So I'm always building my brand. So he said, "You got cancer?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you don't like you got cancer." He's one of the people. I said, "Well, what's it look like?" So we started to talk about the cancer. And that was one of his biggest fears. I say that to say I wasn't looking for an opportunity, so to speak, from a business standpoint. What I was doing was looking for opportunity to connect with another human being. So it's all about the human connection, not about being thirsty for business. The thought of business never crossed my mind. I had no idea who this man was.
Relationships.
So
Keep going, keep going.
right, right. So during that, and I shared some things with him and gave him some insight on some things about getting tested and checked. And I asked him where he was from. He was from East LA. One of our children are in California. We talked about that. We called him, and I told him, I said, "Well, I'm a financial strategist." He said, "Well, what is that?" So I told him, I said, "Listen, man, this is what we do. We teach people how to, get the bag, roll the bag, and keep the bag." I said, like, you got bad credit, bro. We got you. We got people to help you. He said, "Man, funny you should say that." And I said, well, "What's funny about that? Having bad credit?" He said, "Man, just so happens." He said, "I'm the general manager for," and I ain't gonna say who he works for because we recording this. Who he works for. And I said, "Oh, word? Okay." And I said, "Congratulations." He said, "Man, I got a ton of business for you." I said, "Really?" He said, "We need to link up because by now we're talking." He said, "You got a business card?" So I have an electronic business card that I use. So I take out my card and I say, "Where's your phone?" He take his phone out. I tap it on his phone. He was like, "Oh man, this is impressive." Again, I'm always ready. I'm always ready. I'm always on duty. I'm always on call. So he took that, he downloaded it and everything. And he said, "Man, I'm doing these things in business, and I know these people said talking about conferences. And at the time, I believe you guys are on your way to Vegas." So I told him, I said, "Yeah," I said, "a couple of my business partners are getting ready to go out to Vegas." And he had told me he had a house in Vegas. Said, "Y'all were going out there for the and before I could finish, he said, "The 10X conference." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I might go to my house out there." He said, "Man," and he said some things about Grant Cardone. And I said, "Oh, okay, so you like Grant?" He said, "Like him?" He said, "Man, watch this." And he called him. I was like, "What?" Okay, this is impressive. Says what he has to say. Turns out he know all the car dealerships like in our area, and this is a huge area for car dealerships. Then he called Patrick Bet David. Like we just start going down the list of people that he knew, and he's like literally calling these guys. Like Nick Sirianni and all like these guys is friends, and he's showing me the pictures like with him. He ain't just saying I got their number. Like he's literally showing me pictures with these people. Like when they won the Super Bowl, they came and bought him the trophy. Like to take pictures with him. So I say all that, and I'm sharing this with Coach because he has said he's always encouraging people to have conversation. So I told him who he was, looked the guy up. He was like, "Yeah, he legit." I said, "I know he legit." So out of that, he said, we like I said, we exchanged numbers. Like, you guys need to come by the house. By then, my wife comes back in, and she was telling him how to save on his taxes and stuff like that with the property because they live out in like basically in a rural area where one of his properties is here in Jersey. So from that, basically we cool. Like he hit me up like, "Yo, what's going on, Keith?" So it was an organic thing. It wasn't like when we talk about being ready or being ready for the moment. It was just I'm just talking to people every day. Like every day, I try to make a connection with another human being. So it's not necessarily about getting a lead. It's just about connecting with people, on that level. I talk to a rock, man. It doesn't matter to me who the person is. So it's really about the connection, not so much about trying to always drum
That's
up
it. That's
business.
impressive, man.
But out of that,
That's
yeah,
impressive. It's all about
huh?
relationships, like we just have here. Rita,
Yeah,
relationships is the answer. It's all about relationships, and that's what you're building. That's how you've been able to stay in business all this time. We have a question here
right.
though. Hold on. All right.
Okay.
It's a two-part question, boss. Having overcome adversity and transformed challenges into strengths, right? What would you consider to be your superpower? Or what would you consider your superpower to be? Then the second part to that question is if you were a superhero or a movie hero, which one would you relate to the most and why? Damn. Okay. What's your superpower? Being that you transformed these challenges into strength. So, what would be your superpower? That's the first part of the question.
What would be my superpower? That's a really, really good question. My superpower is my ability to communicate. That is a superpower. if you can communicate in life, you can communicate anywhere. You can touch people. My ability to touch other people.
Mm. Okay, now,
Yeah,
phew,
and then
that's good. I mean, you know what? Uh, Let's see where you go with the second question. If you were a superhero or a movie hero, which one would you relate to the most and why?
a superhero or a movie
Yeah, you
hero.
could think either way. You can go movie or you can go Marvel, whatever floats your boat.
Well, if I was going to pick Marvel, I mean, I got to go with the Black Panther. I mean, I'm just sorry. I got to go with the Black Panther. Because it's about community, it's about family, it's about strength, and it's about, you know, his humanity in that movie reminds me of a guy named, I think his name is Jason Wilson, talks about being a comprehensive man instead of being an alpha male. And in that, he says about our ability to adapt to whatever environment we're in. Sometimes I need to be strong. Sometimes I need to be nurturing. Sometimes I need to carry you. It just depends. So like that's how I would see myself as far as that superhero was concerned.
Oh, okay, okay. Too deep. I like that. I like that. Oh, Takira got another question. They're wrong. Listen, I'm only up to six. This seems to be the trend of the show now. I get maybe two or three questions and they start coming. Here you go. Being a man of faith and everything that God has blessed you with today on this great day
Mhm.
of 425 2025. In one word, only one word, what would you say to a person that will inspire them to fast start their journey on living in their purpose? Damn. Okay, she got very long winded just to ask you what would
One
one
word
word you would say to
to
someone.
inspire them to fast start their journey
Mm-hmm.
and living in their purpose. Faith.
Mm, I knew that was coming.
Faith.
It's faith. You know what?
Faith.
Elaborate on that. I'm curious to know where you're going with. I mean, I can say it 10 different ways, but
Because
why
if you
faith?
don't believe it, who else is going to believe it? You got to believe it. You manifest in your brain first, in your mind. That's where the manifestation comes from. If you think it, then you can achieve it. Like one of my favorite books is The Alchemist. Have you read that?
Yes, I have. Very long time ago, man. I think I need to read it again for because I didn't have the same mental capacity I have now.
So everything that you have, God has already given you. Everything that you need, He's already given you. So you just have to believe that you actually have it to be able to do it. You have to believe it. He already gave you the gift. He gave it to you. So now you have to have the faith to follow what He gave you. You walk the path. He didn't say it was going to be easy. He didn't tell you there weren't going to be challenges. You got to have the faith. Now you said it, and when you said, Lord, this is what I want, now He's going to throw, like the universe is going to throw all the challenges at you. You sure you want this? You sure you want it? Let me see how bad you want it. Now you got to go get it. And you can get it. Because if He gave it to you, bro, it's already yours. It's already yours. You've already won. You already got a victory. So now you got to have the faith to believe that I can walk down there through this fire. It don't even matter. You see that fire down there? Yeah, I'm going that way anyway because that's the way God told me to go. So you can't. It's your faith, man.
Mm.
It's your faith. You can talk all the talk you want to, but then you got to be able to walk the walk. And that walk is your ability to have faith. Do you believe it? You said it, but do you believe it? I can tell what you believe. 85% of communication is nonverbal. So it's your faith, bro.
I think he explained it there. She said, "Please elaborate because don't understand faith." She doesn't understand what you mean by faith. So I think he elaborated on it, but this came in after while you were
So
talking.
when I say faith, so it's not knowing where it's going, but I believe that I can get to that place. If I believe that, because you talked about God and that principle, one of the requirements to walk with Him is to have faith. That's one of the requirements. So if I don't believe Him, why am I rocking with Him? I gotta believe Him, even when He says to do something that I may not understand at the time. So that's where the faith comes in. Like when you say, and who I'm not sure who it was that asked that question, but when you say, hey, if you do the X, Y, and Z, these things will come, then you have to believe it even when it don't look like it's really going to happen. Like I knew that that first bout, I was not going to die. Like I knew it. I felt it. Like I ain't getting ready to die. I ain't dying. Not now. So it didn't matter to me what the doctor said. It didn't matter to me what my family thought. It just mattered to me what God put in my heart. And if he put it in my heart, bro, I ain't worrying about it. I ain't worrying about it.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I see that we supposed to walk by faith, not by sight. Right. I ain't got to see it. All I got to do is believe it. And if I believe it, I am literally manifesting that in my body and in my mind and in my body and my spirit. I've already manifested it. So I've already had that victory.
Okay. Got another question here. We got Jenny, my children's keeper. What was your specific manifestation or prayer where you to get you where you are now?
Say that one more time.
What was your specific manifestation or prayer to get you where you are at this present time right now?
It wasn't, it's not one thing. It's a combination of things. Again, because I read and I read a lot, like just a voracious reader. So when I look at people, let's say in the Bible, one of my favorite people in the Bible is Paul, right? And if people are asking me these questions, they know who Paul is. So that walk that you have with God, like say, for example, if I'm saying God removed his cancer, he said, my grace is sufficient. Like with Paul in reference to like Paul with the limp, right? Remember that? And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, bro, I gave you what you need. Keep it walking. So when I look at the prophets, I understand that that pain that I'm having is moving me in a direction to do the things it is that he wants to do. Because there's no way that I would have volunteered to help out people with multiple myeloma. I wouldn't have volunteered for that. Who takes that job? Right? No. So when he put me there, it's like, oh, okay, this the assignment. All right, cool. We rocking this then. That's just how I see it. So if I was mentoring, I didn't ask to be a mentor. I didn't ask to be a coach. Like God put you where you need to be to do the thing it is that you need to do. You have to accept the assignment when he places you in that space. But you have to also know that it's from him. And you'll know that it's from him by the things that are going around you. But first and foremost, you got to be submerged in him. You got to have a relationship. You got to have a walk. So it wasn't like a particular scripture. It was just the relationship that I've developed over the years. And I say like that's the most important thing to me. It's the relationship that I have. So when I do things, I don't do it because that's what I want to do or it feels good to me to do it. Like that's what I'm supposed to do. I do what I'm supposed to do. Again, being old school, or like the last of the boomers, as you said, right? I do what I'm required to do, man. I'm depressed. I don't have the luxury of being depressed. I don't have a luxury.
Mm.
My wife wants certain things. My kids want certain things, right, bro? I don't even know what y'all talking about, and I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't understand it. But growing up in that environment and being around those types of people, then you push through like in your business. Like every day I'm learning something. Every day I'm growing. I'm moving. I wake up like, okay, like I'm still here. And as you know, something we haven't touched on as we started to develop this, when I had the opportunity to come back to work, I found out I got cancer. 3 weeks later, I lost my mom. I never stopped working.
Mm.
I never stopped working. And my mom wasn't sick. So you know how we are about our family, right? I'm like, what? And I could literally hear my mom saying, all right, time to shake the dust off, buddy. Man up, let's go. Because that's just the environment. So I don't really subscribe to that. And I'm not saying I don't have bad days because that is not the truth. But in the midst of that, I realized that it ain't even about me. So I gotta get up and keep going. Like I go to the gym 4 days a week, which is why sometimes I miss some of our calls because I'm in the gym 4 days a week. I'm at the gym 6 o'clock in the morning. I ain't getting home until like sometime almost 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm 61 years old, bro. I'm still getting it. You ain't gonna outwork me. You might outlive me, but you damn sure ain't gonna outwork me. So it's it's those things, and you don't think about it with the idea of doing it, for yourself. You just do it. That's another question.
Oh yeah, I had one, but we're filling up here. We got aside. This is Coach. You know this guy. Oh godly. Aside from the Bible,
Right.
which book has had the greatest impact on cousin Keith?
That's a good
Aside from
question.
the
You know what? I'm gonna say this one is a book by Tony Robbins called Awakening the Giant Within.
Bible.
And in the book, he talks about a thing called Kaizen. It's a Japanese word, and the word is means constant and never-ending improvement. So he changed it to Kanai, constant and never-ending improvement. And I knew that at the time to pull off what I was trying to pull off when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I had to constantly improve. Constantly. So I just kept reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. So I would say that was the book. That was probably one of the most impactful books that I read.
One more time, the title, because I know there's some of us writing. I'm going to be able to watch the playback, but one more time.
Awakening the Giant Within, I think is the title. It's by Tony Robbins.
Got it.
By Tony
Okay.
Robbins. So he was probably one of the first people that I came across um, in that space. Yep.
Okay. Key, we got another one. We're gonna go at least. I'm gonna give you this one and then my last question. And
Okay.
I seem to be knocking it out where I'm getting people that are gonna have to come back for a part two because this is getting deep. Here's how did your diagnosis of cancer propel you for greatness?
I think that's a really good question. If I understand it correctly, what I believe it was is, I find out I have cancer in the last. When did we find out? In 2021. So the years before that, I believe that I was already being prepared for that space. Because when you go on your life journey, you hit certain obstacles. You get certain tests. You get certain, even so, you get certain rewards along that journey. So once I got to that space, I was already ready. If that makes sense, I was already ready. He had already prepared me for where I was going. Like when this is, I'm gonna prepare a place for you. Like, bro, I'm already ready. When I get here, I already know what to do. Because again, like what you said about the relationships, I know a lot of people all over the place. So now when I'm tapping in, like now I'm writing articles like in a local paper, I'm talking to different people, um, being an inspiration to others to help them along that journey. So I believe that I was being prepared along the way by the time I got to that. Like Russell Wilson used to say, the separation is in the preparation, right? So I'm already being prepared along, in my journey. Like I'm prepping every day. Like when you said, man, I'm gonna give you an interview. I said, well, what's the questions? You said, don't worry about it. I said, all right. It's like when we used to deal with artists, you gotta learn how to freestyle. So it's so much information that now I'm prepared. It don't matter what you throw at me. I got it. What you want to do? I got 40 years of business in me. What you ain't coming at me with nothing new. None of the information is new. A lot of times it confirms things that you already know. And there are ebbs and flows in business. There are ebbs and flows in life. With younger people, like with your relationships, if it's marriage, if it's business, if it's your friendships, these things are cyclical. So you just go along the journey and learn and pick up the lessons along the way. So I think that after this many years on the earth, then I was already prepared when I got here. And he picked a person that he said, yo, go in the game. I need you to do that. So, okay, I got it. Did I like it? Nope. We never touched on that. Nope. Didn't like this. Don't like the assignment. But nevertheless, that's the assignment. Or what I say, entrepreneurship. And I don't know if you remember saying this to me. One of the things that led me to come back, even like to work in our business, I remember saying to Rick one day, I said, I don't need to do this no more. And I had a conversation with you, and you said, "Man, you're selfish. You got to help people." And I'm like, other people.
Wait. We had an interruption, so I need to. If I said, I want to hear what I said to you. Go back, say that again. I don't know what you said. Hold on, go ahead.
You
What did I
called
say?
me. You called me selfish, and I said, "Man, I'm tired. Tired, man. Getting old, bro." And I remember saying it to my wife. She was like, "Glad somebody told you, you know." So I'm like, you need to keep helping people because our people, clients are still calling me, other agents are still calling me. And you realize like, you know what? Okay, cool. Let's rock this. So even with this, man, this is really about helping people. Like I don't need accolades, bro. I don't need that. Like I like to see somebody when they say, I get it. I get it. They're like, oh, when that light bulb goes off and they're like, wow, like finally, like that's really what like the coaching, or you got like CEO life on there. That's what the coaching is all about, man. It's like really helping them. So it's not when we talk to people, making money is easy. Getting you to believe you can make money, that's the hard part. So that's the faith. Like I can give you all the tools. You gonna go do the work? Are you gonna do it? Like you gonna let the OGs beat you? Come on, man. So it ain't even about the money. It's really about just sharing the information. What I'm gonna do? Take it with me? That don't make sense. Again, I go back to what I said to you earlier in our conversation. Empty the bucket. Empty your bucket every day. Empty your bucket. When I leave here tonight, my wife and I are going to dinner. I guarantee you I'm going to meet somebody today new. I'm going to meet somebody tomorrow when we go out new. Now, will I do business with all these people? Probably not. But I make it a point to touch another human being every day, bro. No matter how I feel, every day. That's what it's all about. It's all about the connection in the relationships. That's all it is, man. And nothing is promised to us. And the one thing I would stress to anybody before we get off of this platform, don't ever take the time that you have for granted. The next minute is not promised to you. So when you talked about resilience, relentlessness, I move every day like today my last day. And every day for me, with the amount of pain that I'm in, it ain't easy. You've talked to me while I be in treatment. It ain't easy, bro. It ain't easy. So I just get up and just try to get it. Some days, most days are good days. Some days are great days, and some days they rough. So you just keep it moving.
Keith,
Come on, man. You supposed to be. Come on, man. Let's go.
you have left me speechless. You know what? You answered my last question without me asking. I was going to say, what would you say to someone who feels like life has hit them too hard to just keep going, whether it's in business or life, period? There's a lot of people, like I said, that fold, but you just answered it. Live every day as if it's your last.
If you
That's
guys, it's bigger than you. Like my mom used to say to the women in my family, she used to say, "Be a woman and man up." And you got to keep going. If you got kids, you gotta be the example. Like kids don't do what you say; they do what they see.
mm,
So you can't preach greatness and then don't move in that direction. You have to be the living example of what it is that you believe. You have to embody that. And I could promise you, if my kids was on this call, they would all say, "I'm the person that I say I am." I can promise you that.
well, I
You know,
can't fit
so
17 people on this platform, so let's not do that.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So when we do it, it ain't even really about you. You do it subconsciously. So when you're having some, it's nothing wrong with having problems. It's nothing wrong with being like getting down. It's the staying down that's the issue. You can't stay there. You gotta get up because now you made it about you. It ain't about you. It ain't about you. It's about somebody else. Who you supposed to talk to today? Who you supposed to touch today? Who you supposed to help today? It ain't about you. You tell me about your faith, you can quote all the scripture you want to, but until you start to touch other people, other spirits, it don't matter. I know what you believe by what you do, not what you said. And I didn't say be perfect,
Mm.
but 85% of communication is nonverbal. You quote to me all day, bro. That don't matter. That don't matter. Who you touching? Who you walking with? Who you helping? Us as family members, fathers, especially fathers, you have to be the example of what it is that we're supposed to do. You have to embody that. And when a challenge come up, when adversity come up, it's your turn. Now what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You got to man up.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Keith Jones, also known as Cousin Keith. Sir, would you honor this beautiful platform once again?
Absolutely, bro. I do anything in the world you ask me to do, man. Anything you ask me to do, I got you. You're my
Appreciate that.
brother from another mother.
Sent from the above. What are your final? This is what I call shameless plug. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can find you. Final words. It's all yours, my man. Oh,
Oh man, well, like what they say, you can find me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, do whatever it is you need to do, or you can just call me 856-397-7159. That is my personal number. I'm not even gonna give you the business number. Just call me.
oh God, he put out his phone number. Never had that one before. Man, Keith,
Call me,
thank
man.
you so
Ask,
much.
ask, ask cousin Keith, bro. That's all. I'll let you for it.
Oh man, please, guys, if you're coming on for the first time, if you're coming on, don't forget to scan right there. Keep you updated on what we're doing. Like, share this video, man. I think that there was a lot of nuggets dropped, some powerful words by Cousin Keith. And I want to thank you guys, man, for always coming up, especially all the people that are always coming on to watch the show and plug in and ask questions. Mark, Takira, I saw Lisette here. Uh, we have Cherry, we have Jenny. I want to say thank you to all you guys because you guys add to the show. Your questions are a lot of times better, if not better timing than what I had ready. I never get through my questions, and this show is not about me. It's not about our guests. It's about you guys and how we can help you with what we're talking about here, and that's entrepreneurship, man. Remember to stay blessed, man. I want to make sure I say it's been an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be here with you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you gave me your time, and I can't give that back. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. Be
Thanks for
blessed.
having me, bro. I appreciate it.